Hello everyone and welcome to the Virtual Health Careers Conference Live. I'm Felicity and I am a podiatrist and I work in an NHS trust that's both physical and mental health. I am also a Pan-London AHP preceptorship lead and I'm currently working with preceptees and AHPs across the 9 mental health trusts in London. So today we're welcoming 4 wonderful panel members to shine a light on their career in mental health, disability and autism services as an AHP, and also looking at what support's available for those that are newly qualified. We will be talking a little bit about the preceptorship programme because that is something that these guys are all enrolled on. So just a little bit about what preceptorship is. It's just that transition from when you're a student to newly qualified, providing some structure and some joint learning and just helping that transition and creating a bit more, giving a bit more support during that sort of daunting period of where you're becoming an accountable clinician. So the panel members, I've got the wonderful panel members with me here today, and we'll just do some brief introductions. So let's start with Emily first.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm an occupational therapist on a learning disability and autism inpatient forensic ward for men.
Lovely. And then we'll go to Darshita.
Hi, I'm Darshita. I'm an occupational therapist on a mixed rotation. I'm currently working in a women's forensics rehab ward.
Fab. And then Lorna.
Hi, I'm Lorna. I'm a speech and language therapist and I have a split post. So I work in the community in Bromley and also in a college in Bromley working with adults with learning disabilities.
Lovely. And lastly, Sayyada.
Hi, my name is Sayyada. I'm an occupational therapist. I work in community mental health team.
Lovely. So we've got some good variety there from sort of ward-based to community and also speech and language therapists, which is great. So let's get started with some questions. So I'd love to hear from all of you sort of what inspired you to get into sort of mental health, disability and autism services. So I guess we're going the same order. So Emily, did you want to start off?
So I actually worked with autism for a while before I even had heard of what an occupational therapist was. So that was my first encounter, and I worked in a special needs school and a summer camp for special needs kids. And I really enjoyed it. And I was just thinking about what I can do to work in that context. So I went through all the different options and I just thought that occupational therapist was mostly for me because I like the hands-on approach. I like that it's very varied and creative. I just really enjoyed working with people with autism. I just find that so many people have like so many special skills that most people don't have, and it's just really fascinating, and I just love the way that their brain works. I think it's really cool, and obviously everyone's different. No 2 people with autism is the same, and I like that as well. So you get to meet so many different characters, and it's just really fun to work with.
That's really interesting then. So you obviously were working in that sort of area even before you looked at OT. So then you just looked at what careers were available to you to work in that sort of area.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, lovely. And do you think you're going to carry on with working in that area? Is that something you really enjoy?
Yeah, so currently where I am, it's learning disability specialist services, and some people also have autism. And I'm thinking going forwards, maybe I'll do the other way around, where it's autism specialist, where some people might also have an LD. So I might just swap it around.
Lovely. Great. Thank you for sharing that. So then we'll go on to Darshita. So what inspired you to sort of work in a mental health setting?
I've worked in mental health since I first graduated in uni, so quite a long time ago. And then when I started my OT career, I had loads of different placements, but there was something that always used to draw me back to mental health. I think it's like Emily, it's just that everything is so varied and you can be really creative in what you do. And I think it's generally just being able to see the difference that individuals progress in their recovery journey and like seeing the work you can support them in doing. And just like the general feeling of being able to help someone, which I really love. So yeah.
Lovely. And you have actually had experience in wards and now also community, or it's the other way around, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, great. And is there one that you particularly you know, are leaning towards, or do you like sort of being on a rotational and just having varied experience of both?
I'm really conflicted because I really loved community, because it's so much nicer to be able to meet people outdoors or in their houses too. But I also love being inpatient and just being able to spend time with all the patients like every single day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one I'm going to go.
I know you've got a long time to think about that, so yeah, don't rush into any sort of decision. Cool. And then we'll go on to Lorna, speech and language therapist.
If I'm perfectly honest, I never thought I'd actually end up working in with people with learning disabilities or autism. We didn't really cover it very much at university, and I thought, well, okay, that's not an area I will go into then. But then I did some volunteering in Ghana after I finished my degree because I was really tired. Oh, my lights went out. There we go. I was really tired and I wanted a break. And the volunteering I did was with young people with autism and learning disabilities. And I just realised how fun, and like Darshita and Emily were saying, how creative you can be, and just sort of, you stop thinking of, oh, this is a child with autism, this is a child with this disability, this is a child with that disability, and they just become, oh, that's the child that really, really likes me and hugs me every time he sees me, and this is the one who's really funny and says this. So yeah, when I came back, I decided to look into working with people with autism and learning disabilities, and that's how I got into it, really.
Oh, that sounds lovely. And it just sounds like from just those three that it's super rewarding, you know, working in those sort of settings. So yeah, great to hear that it was, you know, when you're at university, you don't know where you're going to end up, and it, you know, obviously there's been an experience outside of university that made you go into that. So really good for those that are interested to maybe open their eyes to what different careers you can go into, because at university, you're right, you don't cover absolutely everything in depth. So yeah, like you said, volunteering is a really good way of doing that. So thank you for sharing that. And then we'll go to Sayyada.
Yeah, so I come from a community where mental health is not very spoken about, and obviously going into uni with an OT degree, I really expected to go into physical health, and in fact, at the first week of uni, we had to write on a piece of paper an area that we would not like to work in, and kind of understand why we develop fears around that. And mental health was one of them. So my first year, I did a physical health placement in orthopedics and trauma. And I realized that the fast-paced environment of orthopedics and trauma was probably not for me. And I really questioned, is this career choice the right one for me? And I then decided to give it a second shot and decided to go for a mental health placement. So my second mental health placement was in a locked rehab unit in Men's. And I enjoyed it so much, mainly because the amount of creativity, the amount of input and holistic view there was in mental health services, which I felt like was not very much in my first placement, because it was so fast and we went through the OT process within matters of hours sometimes. The mental health kind of scenario really showed me how to like slow down, understand the patient, look at them very holistically, know what they want. And from there on, I then started a job as an HCA in a mental health hospital. And my first role was in community mental health, which I'm still working. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, obviously really interesting that you share that. Obviously you come from a background where you don't sort of open up about sort of mental health, and is that something that it's helped you now sort of
Yeah.
where you're from, and sort of opening up about that and having those discussions, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. It has really allowed me like to come with things with an open mind. It's just like it's been a very personal learning lesson as well to be open-minded about everything, but also kind of helped me raise awareness back home, where stigma still exists. I mean, we are getting better and we are being more, we're promoting mental health professions more, we're promoting help for mental illnesses. So it's a work in progress, but it did really give me a chance to, you know, put the message out there.
Yeah, amazing. And obviously, when you said that you obviously went into OT and then you did some physical health experience, and you're like, oh, that's not for me. So it's just important for those that are interested, just like we said with Lorna as well, just broaden horizons. There could be an aspect of that career that you know, you're not massively into, but then there's another area that, you know, oh wow, like I really flourish in this area, and I really you know, I'm really interested and want to learn a lot more. So yeah, that's why it's really important. Don't quit. Just, you know, keep on going. There might be an area that you're more inclined to you know, flourish in. So thank you all sharing those sort of what inspired you to go into mental health, disability and autism services. So just quickly, was there obviously you spoke about some of you spoke about before you even went into university, but was there a particular experience that you had as a student that made you want to go into mental health? Obviously, some of you guys didn't really know at university, but was there like anything at uni that really thought, actually that you know, or something that happened, or an example that really, you know, thought, oh, maybe I should explore this once I've qualified? So go to Emily first.
Interestingly, when I got my first placement, it was mental health placement, and I was really nervous about it. It was a psychosis placement, and I didn't know anything about it. So I was really nervous about it, and I really didn't think I would like it, but I really did enjoy it, more so than my physical placement, which surprised me. I think sometimes when you feel that uncomfortable feeling initially, don't like get scared by that. Sometimes gravitate towards what you're actually scared to and not where you're comfortable. I think that could be where the most like growth comes from, and like the most like enjoyment actually. So that's quite a life lesson for me in general, is like, don't be put off for what makes you feel a bit scared at the beginning. Because meeting those service users, I remember the first day I really enjoyed, we did a group on assertiveness, and there was one girl who was my age, and we just had such different experiences because of her mental health experiences, and we just had this like connection. We got along really well, and that just made me realize I like mental health, because I think she was just saying how having people to talk to and to listen to her and to support her has really, really helped her. So I think to be part of someone's journey and to be that person that they'll remember for years to come and their families will remember, I think that's just such a rewarding thing to have as your day-to-day job, and to be able to do that to people every single day, that's, I think, quite a nice feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I think you make a really good point on things that you feel really daunting and really challenging. Sometimes we do shy away from that. And I'm reflecting on my career as well, you know, things that you actually are quite afraid to do, or you know, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do that. Like, it just feels too big. When you actually, you know, you're involved in it, it can make things hugely rewarding, and like you said, it can just really change your mindset, and you can get sometimes the best sort of outcomes really challenging yourself. So yeah, I think that's a really important point. You know, if mental health is something that you do shy away from, and you know, you do feel like it's going to be too difficult, then, you know, at least get some real good experience, and you know, get stuck in really and just see what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly, because I think we all have our opinions on different mental health or physical health or whatever it is, autism, learning disabilities. We all have opinions about them before we actually know much about it. Just that's human nature. So I think to spend the placement and to spend time with people in those experiences, you realise how similar we all in, regardless of labels or anything like that. We're all so similar, and you can really connect to anyone because we're all humans at the end of the day, and we have more similarities than differences. So that's really nice. So I think just when we feel like we have that opinion on someone we don't know anything about, just remember we actually don't know them. So spend time with them first before forming an opinion, which is kind of goes against human nature, but definitely worth doing. And also I recommend to anyone not to listen to other people's opinions, because I remember hearing, it's really difficult to work with people with autism, and you hear things like that all the time. Or where I am, there's one female ward and 11 male wards, and the female ward has a different type of reputation. So I was really nervous to go on it, and then I went on it and really enjoyed my time. So I think just take everything with a pinch of salt and experience things for yourself and not just listen to other people.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, definitely. That's a really good piece of advice there. Okay, and Darshita, was there anything when you were a student that sort of, or an example or anything that made you think of, mental health when you qualify?
Yeah, so I was still toying between physical health and mental health throughout my degree, but my last placement was working on a older adults ward, mainly with those with dementia, and I think that was the one that just I just decided like I really want to work in mental health. We did like a whole project over the 8 weeks I was there, and we did this like garden fence mural project. And it's just so nice to be able to have loads of meaningful conversations with them and hear about their past stories and everything. And I think even just that one conversation just really like makes their day. So that's what I really loved. And I was like, I definitely want to go into mental health. And even I was just thinking, even in my other placements, mental health always kind of came into it. I had a placement on an older adults physical ward, and even mental health comes into that in terms of like isolation, loneliness, and I also had a community neuro placement, and mental health is such a big part of neuro too, just thinking about, adapting to their new lives. So I just thought this is a place I want to be at.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, and obviously that's a different sort of obviously we've got older adult sort of mental health, and that's obviously what you're talking about there. So there's differences in sort of ages you can get involved in as well. So it's really important to check out the variety of not only adults, but there is older adults. So yeah, really important to check those out as well. Lovely. And then Lorna, obviously you mentioned at uni you didn't really have a placement within sort of learning disability. So maybe when you're volunteering, was there something that you really thought, oh wow, I really want? You did touch on that a bit, but yeah, just expand a little bit.
I don't think it was any sort of one thing. I think just I was in Ghana for 3 months, and I'm not really sure when, but there was just one point kind of I was just really comfortable where I was, and a bit like Emily was saying, I think you feel a bit uncomfortable at first. It's not known to you. It's something you haven't done before. You're unsure of yourself, which as a clinician initially you are anyway, because going to university is just the first step. It's kind of like, they teach you the basics and then you really, really learn on the job. So, uncomfortable, unsure, and then after a while I just kind of got comfortable and a bit more confident in working with the young people, working with the parents, talking to the parents. I worked closely with an OT there as well. So it was really nice to have that overlap and see where AHPs can work together for their service users, which was really lovely. So yeah, just the whole process really. So kind of like, the last month, I was just absolutely loving it and really enjoying my time. Didn't actually want to leave, but I had to come back.
Oh, well, I hope you're enjoying it now in your new role.
I am.
Oh, that's the thing. Obviously, you just spoke about joint working with an OT as well, and that's the wonderful thing about being an AHP. You're not just working with your profession; you can work with a variety of different professionals and sort of share learning. And yeah, and obviously, yeah, but it was your whole experience. It wasn't just one aspect. So, yeah, it's really lovely. Okay, and then lastly, we've got Sayyada. If there's anything that at university? Obviously you did touch on that a little bit. Is there anything sort of specific that really stuck out in your mind at all?
No, but I'm just trying to think about my experiences in the community, like in the rehab team, in the men's mental health unit. On my first day there were so many activities there was so much occupation, very holistic. Everybody had their own one-to-one time and group time, which made me realize how efficient OTs are within these settings, to be able to kind of help with these symptoms, like especially with psychosis, positive symptoms and negative symptoms, in terms of distraction, in terms of like social interaction. So I think that gave me a really good overview of what an OT does in mental health, which made me want to do it even more.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, so it's really important with your placements to try and get a variety. I know some students, sometimes they really enjoy a placement, they want to go back to the same one, and you know, because you know they really enjoy themselves, but really important to get that variety and expose yourself. Like you said, you know, you thought maybe physical health was something you'd go into, but you completely changed your mind. So yeah, placements are so important to open your eyes. And yeah, reflecting on, obviously I don't work sort of predominantly in mental health or autism or a disability or anything like that, but when I qualified, I thought I was going to go down one route. I thought I'm definitely going to be doing this, something that I really enjoyed at uni. But then when I was qualified, I went into a role that didn't do that particular thing, but they were doing more sort of wound care, diabetes care. And now I absolutely love it. And that's what I specialised in. So it just shows that you just don't know until you qualify, and it's really good to expose yourself to different placements and sort of scenarios. Okay, so we're just going to move on to we'll go on to what, obviously, the preceptorship programme and what other help you've utilised as a newly qualified AHP, especially, you know, working within mental health, where you guys have spoken about, is, you know, very daunting. It can be a very daunting career path when you first start. So what support have you utilised within your first role? So Emily, if we go to you first, and obviously just speak about just a little bit about, we already have a little bit about sort of thoughts and your feelings and anxieties going into that role.
Yeah, I was definitely nervous to begin. I think, oh, sorry, Felicity, I think you were on mute. Did you say something? Is that okay?
No, I don't think so. Just, yeah, the support that you've utilised and the thoughts and anxieties that you felt going into your first role.
Okay. It's hard to think back to how I felt, because I feel so like comfortable now. Actually, I moved wards like 3 months in or something, and I was more nervous to move wards than to start my first ward, I think, because I don't know why, I just felt that the OT I was replacing, I shadowed her for a while, and I just thought she was like the most amazing OT, and I was really scared to know if I could live up to that expectation. So I actually think there's always going to be that nerves of who you're taking over, because the patients have that rapport with them, and you want them to like you as well, you want the staff to like you, so there is that pressure. And I think I would advise someone to just realize that we're all different people, we're all different OTs, so you are going to do things slightly differently, and the patients will like you, the staff will like you equally, even if you're not the exact same type of OT. So you don't need to try and be like someone else, just be yourself, but also learn from other people. The support I've utilised, so I like the way my office is set up, that I'm in an office with other OTs, but we're all on different wards, so we all have completely different patients, so there's no like working together on the same patient, but which is nice, because then we can just support each other from like an outsider, which is quite nice, because it can get quite claustrophobic if you all have the same patients all the time. So that's been really nice to like actually make like friendships with people you work with. I think that's really important, to spend time like at lunchtime with them, and like even after work. I think I'm a real big fan of just having work friends. I think it makes such a difference. So I've also tried to befriend like the MDD team on the wards. Just to have that informal time is really nice, and then you can actually talk about things. And I think maybe on placement I didn't always say what was on my mind, because you want to appear that everything's perfect all the time. But then once you qualify, you realize nobody thinks everything's perfect all the time, and it's actually really healthy to be open and transparent, and you can complain. You're allowed to say you're tired, you're allowed to say that you're stressed, you're allowed to say that something bothers you. I had quite a difficult day a few months ago. One of my patients went into seclusion, and I went to see him in seclusion, and I just found the whole thing really uncomfortable. And I think if that was on placement, I would have just kept it to myself, but I actually told people how I felt. And I think that was just really helpful, that when they were like, yeah, we feel that too, it is really validating. And even if they don't feel that way, it's still nice to just get it off your chest and to tell someone. So I really recommend that. And also the preceptorship meetings have been really nice, because I think everybody is in the same situation and everyone's really supportive. And it's just like a really informal, respectful space that it's just really nice, even though it's been virtual the whole time. It's been really supportive, and it just makes you feel like, okay, we're all in this together, so all your anxieties are validated.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's been the top bit of feedback that we've had, is just the fact that everyone is going through the same thing. Like everyone, no matter where you are, how long you've been qualified, everyone's feeling the same. So I think you do get a lot of reassurance from that in those meetings. And yeah, like you said, just talk. Make sure you're talking about how you're feeling. My manager, when I first started, she said, if you're not saying anything's wrong, then I know something's wrong. Like she said, there's got to be something wrong. Like you can't be just, newly qualified and think everything's okay. So she always made sure I spoke. And obviously that from this year, especially, I think that's one of the most important things that's come out, is making sure that you're talking about how you feel. So yeah, that's great. Darshita, did you say that you have to go? Or was it there's a meeting or something?
No, I just need to move rooms in a minute, but I can continue.
Okay.
I'm being kicked out.
Okay. Cool. Right. So same question to you, Darshita, sort of, how did you feel, and what support did you utilise when you first started, and also now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really nerve-wracking, sort of joining a whole new team, and I was the only band 5 OT in my first rotation. So it was really nerve-wracking, as I just thought, oh my God, I've got to do everything. And of course, I had my manager too. But what was really helpful was just having a really supportive team and a really supportive manager and supervisor too. I thought that makes such a difference. And I was having supervision every 2 weeks in the first 2 months of qualifying. And I found that really helpful, as I was just able to go to her and just give her all my questions, and she was able to support me with that, which I found really helpful. And generally, like Emily was saying, just talking to others in the team as well. And everyone's always really helpful. So it's nice to just share ideas and share your thoughts and things. And in my current place here, I'm within a team of 7 OTs. So it's really nice as well, just to be able to talk to all the other OTs too, and just get support. So it's really helpful. And yeah, of course, the preceptorship program, which I've been loving, it's been really good. I think it's been so nice because we've been able to just get continued help in new information and tools and strategies to use when we're at work. And I feel like it's really supported me with a smoother transition from going from student to newly qualified. Yeah, it's been good.
Great, it's exactly what we want to hear. Yeah, and again, it sounds like just talking has made a massive difference. So yeah, really important to reach out to your colleagues, or even just outside of work as well, making sure that you're talking to, sometimes it helps talking to people that don't know really what it's like, and just getting a bit of help from your friends and family as well. So yeah, great, thank you, Darshita. And then Lorna, is there anything that you sort of add to that in terms of how you felt and sort of support?
Yes, like I said before, I think it's always nerve-wracking when you start something new, especially a completely different career, because I'd been working in sort of the city for a very long time, and then went back to uni after almost a decade to study something completely new. So it was a case of, oh my gosh, you know, this is not my usual world. This is completely different. But actually, I think one of the things I will share is anybody who is studying sort of later on in life is that all the skills that you've gained from any and all other jobs or volunteering or just sort of life experience, you can and you will bring that to your position. So it doesn't matter if it's completely in a different field, you know, dealing with managers, working with people, talking to parents or carers, time management, knowing how to be calm, prioritizing work, all those sorts of skills that you learn in other jobs, you will be able to bring to your AHP role as well. So yeah, it's a bit nerve-wracking, but actually after a while, like everyone has said so far, you kind of find your footing and you find your way, and you're not expected to know everything. You know, your managers, your colleagues will know, okay, you just started. When they just started, they didn't know everything. They needed to ask questions. No one likes being the new person, but you're not going to be the new person forever. In terms of support, like Emily and Darshita said, just talking to other people. From university, we have a WhatsApp group, speech therapy WhatsApp group. So I really recommend one of those, or whatever platform you're going to use. And we'll just throw in questions. Hey guys, I'm seeing XYZ. Has anyone else faced this? Has anyone faced that? So it's really, really nice. Even people, you know, working in pediatric settings or acute settings, nothing to do with mental health or learning disabilities. But again, people can bring those skills and those ideas that other people have had, their own experiences. Yeah, just talking to friends and family, just need to decompress or de-stress. And of course, the preceptorship program, which for me, I think is just really fun because it's a nice way of just getting to know other speech, occupational, podiatrists, and dietitians as well, in sort of the area, sort of South London, sort of Pan London, and just knowing, not alone, all the things you're thinking of, i.e., I don't know what I'm doing. My manager thinks I'm an idiot. The manager doesn't think you're an idiot. But all those kinds of thoughts that you sometimes have, everyone else is having them as well. So that's really nice. And, you know, winning a preceptorship mug, potentially my proudest moment.
Yeah, definitely. And where you said, you know, we're not expected to know everything, your managers also don't know everything. You know, you're never going to know everything. And I think that's something that's just really important to be aware of. You know, managers and, you know, your team leads, they're still learning day to day as well. So yeah, just really important to bear that in mind. Not everyone's going to know everything. And yeah, great to hear about the fact that you're utilising, you know, WhatsApp groups and, you know, still keeping in touch with university friends. I think that's all really nice. And even with the preceptorship program, some people log on, they're like, oh my God, I went to uni with that person, and like they're connecting even though they're working in different trusts, which is really nice. We just want to build like a big network and a big level of support for you all. So good to hear that you've all benefited from it. And then lastly, Sayyada, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, but there is a book that really helped me initially, especially with job interviews and then going into the new role. So it is called The Essential Guide for Newly Qualified Occupational Therapists. And also there is a website by Elizabeth Casson. I think there is a section for newly qualified OTs and resources. It's quite a lot on Twitter as well. It's a really good platform to network with different OTs, ask questions. You know, I've made a lot of good friends there, and it's been interesting, especially with the preceptorship, that you know them via Twitter and then you see them in the preceptorship, or you know them in the preceptorship and then you connect elsewhere. And it's really good to have all these kind of resources and networking, especially support. So one of the preceptorship sessions was on networking, and we did a bit of a speed networking exercise, which is quite good because there were areas that I didn't even know existed, especially in mental health, and kind of broadened my horizons on how people work differently, even if it's the same kind of you know, posts. So like community mental health in elsewhere would work very differently from how we work here. So
Oh, was that the end there? Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. But it's just, it really can broaden your horizons just chatting to someone in one of those meetings. And, you know, we're hoping that further down the line it can help with, you know, pathways and stuff like that. And you're going to have those networks for the rest of your career now, which is, you know, really lovely. Lovely. So we'll just end with just some top tips. So there's just a top tip if somebody's interested, or you know, they've watched this and that they're thinking, oh yeah, maybe I want to go into sort of mental health, autism and learning disability. What would your one bit of advice be, or top tip? So go to Emily first.
Maybe if you don't like it at first, or it feels uncomfortable or nerve-wracking at first, then give it time. Don't write it off after a day or a week. I think with autism, learning disabilities, mental health, it all takes a bit of time to get used to and to feel comfortable. So give yourself that time and patience.
Lovely. Yeah, great bit of advice there, definitely. Don't write it off. Give yourself time to settle in, and you'll get there. And then Darshita?
Yeah, I'd say if you are interested in working in mental health or learning disabilities, I'd say definitely go for it, because it's such a rewarding area to work in. And I'd say just go in with a very open mind and just, you know, see the world through your service users' eyes, and just, you know, trying to be really trauma informed, to give the best care, and just like, like Emily said, don't listen to everyone's opinions on what you should do, and like whether you should always go to a rotation or whatever. You can go to a static post and still have an enjoyable experience. So yeah.
Amazing, thank you, Darshita. And then Lorna, have you got a top tip?
I'd really just kind of echo what everyone else has said. Push yourself out of your comfort zone, give it a try, give yourself time, and yeah, don't listen to anybody else, and just try and see everybody as an individual. And kind of like what Emily was saying before, there's probably more things that are similar between you and someone with an LD or mental health or autism than are dissimilar, really.
Lovely. I like that ending sentence there. And then Sayyada, we'll finish off with
just reflecting on what everybody else said, is go in with an open mind, and if you can, while at university, get some experience in mental health, and even if it's not on a placement, if it's in an HCA role, if it's in a volunteer role, it just broadens your horizon, and it just kind of shows you the possibilities that you might have. But other than that, just have fun.
Yeah, have fun. Yeah, definitely. Cool. So thank you guys so much. You've been so insightful, and I think, you know, potential AHPs that want to go into this career path are going to take a lot from this session. So really appreciate you guys talking about, you know, why you're doing what you're doing and why you love what you're doing. And we're hoping that it's inspired a few more to go down sort of mental health, autism and learning disabilities route. So we'll end it here. And obviously, if anyone watching is interested or wants to know more, I'm pretty sure that the lovely preceptees here today will be more than happy to chat with anyone that's interested in a particular career path. And preceptorship-wise, please do reach out to us as well, because we want to welcome as many preceptees on our programme as possible. So, goodbye.